Well, welcome back to Football with Ben Roethlisberger. My name is Spence, and this is two-time Super Bowl champion Ben Roethlisberger. Hey, what you got there, bud?
Sweet hat.
Almost didn't see it. It was so camouflage.
Camo.
Yeah, that is a sweet hat.
It is.
Yes, and it's fitting because we got a great episode. Great hat, great episode, great shirt. Shout out to the OG.
Toby.
There he is. Got a lot to talk about this week around the league. We are going to update Seven's top 7 of the AFC, NFC. I got a special holiday-themed category for that as well for you. We're going to cover the Steelers.
Controversial.
Well, it can be. It definitely can be. That's for sure. We're going to cover the Steelers-Eagles game. We got family dinner as well, which I want to pick your brain on something, which is extremely exciting for us.
Okay.
And the family dinner. So stick around for that as well, guys. But
I'm hungry.
Every good football episode, we're going to start with a beverage.
I'm also thirsty.
Okay, well, luckily for you, my dear friend, we have some beverages. And the first beer we're going to do is one that's been sent in by one of the members of the Footballin Family.
Family?
Yes. So
Appreciate you.
it's actually a twofold beer.
Two-fold beer?
It's a twofold beer.
I've never heard of those.
You know one of those?
Okay, different than a lager, obviously.
Yeah, you know one of those twofold beers. That's probably the worst way I could explain it, but you'll know what I mean.
Okay.
All right. There is a little Moose Bouche. All right. So there is a soda that accompanies this.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we're going to do the soda first so we can compare it to the beer afterwards. All right. And so
I need to break that down more for people. That's confusing to me, and I'm sitting next to you.
So it's two drinks.
Okay, we're going to do 2 drinks.
2 drinks.
Same time?
2 dragons. So,
same time.
all right. And the beer is a Cheerwine ale.
Okay.
Okay. So Cheerwine,
yes,
as we know.
Yes, from
Right.
Alex's
episode, which is referenced in the note that was sent in by Aaron Kissling, who sent this in.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron.
Sent also some Cheerwine soda. So we're going to drink the Cheerwine soda first.
So I've never had.
That's right. You haven't had Cheerwine.
Never had it. We had the Cheerwine, I think, barbecue sauce. Evan used it for something.
Right.
But I've never actually drank Cheerwine straight.
Okay. Well, this is a exclusive then. That's so crazy. Yeah. So we're going to try the soda first, and then we're going to try the beer afterwards.
Okay.
All right. So I'll pour this out.
So nervous. Like, is it going to be like dark colored? Is it going to be red like Big Red? Is it going to taste like Big Red? Is it going to taste like Dr. Pepper? Is it going to taste like Cherry Coke? I'm so excited.
Oh, it's red. Okay. So
red.
I had Cheerwine maybe 10 years ago at a cookout, which is not just, it's an actual restaurant in the Carolinas. It's amazing. You can get it
smells delightful.
Cheese quesadilla as a side. It's amazing. So I'll read this. Aaron saying, loves the football podcast. Absolutely love it. She says, love all of the shared football knowledge. I love the behind the scenes information Ben shares as a former player. I love hearing the stories and the guests, especially stories before her time.
Wait, what's that? Is that a reference to age?
Yeah, I think it was a polite way to say you might be a little bit older.
I think she hid that in there with that. Okay. Thank you, Aaron, for at least sending the Cheerwine in. That's what Cheerwine again.
Yeah, was that
really
good?
good?
Is it? All right. She said in the episode with Alex Highsmith, Chef Evan made a Carolina Cheerwine barbecue sauce. There you go. Look at your memory. She said, since y'all, or should I say yins, did not seem to know what Cheerwine was, thought I would, that should be rectified. So she said, I drove this Cheerwine ale and Cheerwine pop all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina.
No way.
Yes. Cheerwine is a well-loved drink here. There is Cheerwine Festival, Cheerwine Flavor Fudge, Cheerwine Floats.
We should go to the Cheerwine Festival and do a show there.
Dude, don't threaten me with it.
We got to try the Cheerwine ale
We'll try it first. Yeah. She said, maybe you can even share some with Alex Highsmith. I'll actually see him tomorrow. I'll take him a can for you, Aaron.
1 can only.
1 can. He's not a...
More than that.
I can't imagine Alex drinks a lot of soda.
No, I don't think so.
Definitely no beer.
Thank you, Aaron. I like the Cheerwine is very good. I like it.
Yeah, man.
It's a little Dr. Peppery-ish. It's a little cherry.
Little Mr. Pibb? Mm-hmm. See, I grew up in the Dr. Thunder house.
Dr. Thunder. I trust me, in college, that's all I drank was Dr. Thunder.
My man.
Yeah, I could get down with this. I like this. This is good. Okay.
All right, so we have a little...
Save some of that for the family dinner, too.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's smooth.
I like that.
I'm not a big soda guy, but if I was going to do one...
Pop. Soda. By the way, I can't wait for family dinner because people love to see me house food. I see that in the comments sometimes. It's not. not so much chewing in the mic as much as they're like,
you get good at
my
that.
favorite thing has been housing that blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, if you tried Evan's food, you'd house it too.
Yeah.
I'm hungry because I haven't eaten.
I think that's the funniest thing is, okay, we want a little different.
Do we make this like like our friend Justin Bryan who can't make black and tans? Do you make a black and tan with Cheerwine and Cheerwine ale?
Should we try it? Let's try this first and then we'll do it. I'll get some bigger cups.
Did I say both his full name, Justin Bryan, the one that can't make the black and tans?
I think people know.
Oh, they already know.
I think they know.
Yeah.
They know who,
the family knows who Justin is.
Yeah.
And Brendan. And Beal.
We should do an episode where they're just all on so people can put a name to the face. And
just quickly, like these, like here's so and so. All
right.
And then they have to go sit over there.
You can get back on the microphone when you make a proper black and tan.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a collaboration between Noda Brewing Company, which is a brewery in the Carolinas, right, and Cheerwine, right? This is a Cheerwine ale. This is a uniquely southern wheat ale crafted with the perfect touch of cherry, proudly presented from two family-owned companies in the Carolinas. It's 5.2 alcohol by content.
Okay, I smelled it.
Yep.
It smells like Cheerwine. Which Cheerwine is an unusual name because you'd think it's like a wine, obviously, like a cheerful wine. Or is it supposed to be cheer like cherry?
Oh yeah,
but cherry is not. There's not two e's in cherry.
Probably should have done more research for sure.
Cherry wine. So help us with that, people.
Yes, yeah. Let us know.
This smells like a candle a little bit, like a cherryish, flavorful.
Yep.
Holiday candle. I'm excited to try it because I think it almost smells like a sour a little bit.
Sure, I get that.
I'm excited to try this. I'm hoping it tastes as good as it smells. And it's not. I don't want to confuse people and say like, oh, it smells like potpourri. It just smells good.
It is a delightful aroma.
Okay, here we go. Interesting forward taste and interesting mouth finishes too. Okay.
What do you think? Comparison.
Man of a lot of words right now. Okay. You can taste the obviously the Cheerwine in it. Can I have a little more to just try?
That's all yours there. Not only that is all yours, but you have a 12-pack of both the Cheerwine and
because of Aaron.
Yep.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you. It's unique, different, not bad. I wouldn't say I'm gonna hit it one more time. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's not. But I could definitely drink it. Like it's and I say it's not my favorite. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh my goodness, where do we get this around here?
Right.
I would, absolutely go to the Cheerwine Festival, drink more of it.
Yes. Weirdly,
I like. Yeah, I mean, it tastes. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it.
It's just when it hits your mouth.
You gotta express yourself, brother. It's art, dog.
Express yourself. I like it.
Yeah,
I do like it.
That is, I think, if you're gonna represent Cheerwine in a beer form, that's the perfect way to do it. That is, I historically do not like wheat ales. I think that is.
Oh, it's yeah.
I've really enjoyed that.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't think about it being. Did you say wheat ale or at the beginning?
Yeah, I didn't. I had to go look again. I didn't.
Attention,
yeah, me neither. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. Half the thing, I don't even know what I'm doing so much stuff. I have to like watch this back to see what I said.
Yeah, it's I like it. I would love to go to the Cheerwine Festival.
Yeah.
And try more of that or other things they have. You're right. The wheat ale you don't typically like because it's bubblegum. It is. So does this taste like cherry bubblegum to you?
No, it's honestly, I don't know if it's just this time of year or what, but it feels like it could be like a holiday ale. It feels like
without the spicy, like the spice.
Right. But I don't like the spice. And actually, we're going to get into some holiday beers here today.
I'm not a heavy spice either. Well, I should say I will.
You can appreciate them for sure.
It's almost like this is the beer. And this is the O'Douls. Right? Like
what a great analogy.
I'll have the non-alcoholic Cheerwine ale. Okay, so you're gonna just drink Cheerwine.
Right.
The pop, the soda.
That came first, sir. Yes.
Soft drink.
Yes.
Thank you, Aaron. I like that. That's cool.
That is cool. I think the story behind it, it's the North Carolina equivalent of the Iron City Turners collab. Right?
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
The Cheerwine Festival, in case you were wondering.
I am.
Let's see here.
It's got to be festive. It'd be fun to go. There's probably a lot to do there. I think it's all about cherries. What's the cherry? Is like that a hot spot for cherries down there? Is that where all the cherries? Is it gonna be like cherry pies and cherry tarts and cherry dumplings and?
Dude, I've been to North Carolina a lot of times. I don't ever remember cherries outside.
A cherry tree?
No,
ever. I don't know. I mean, I don't have the slightest idea. I'm not a huge cherry fan. I like what are they? Black cherries? The ones that are like the dark colored ones you just spit the pits out. I like those a lot.
Yeah, those are legit.
I don't eat cherries that are on top of sundaes like those. I don't like those kind of cherries really.
The maraschino or whatever.
You know what those are?
Yeah. I can't find a date but it's typically in May. So
here we road trip.
Road trip, dude. Yeah,
Evan,
dude.
you going? Have him cook for us. Do a show down there. Have him cook for us.
That would be legit. Yeah. So
awesome.
that is a great first beer.
Yeah, thank you.
And so let's dive into something that I saw a lot of this weekend, because it was that time of year in college football when we name, by we I mean they, name the greatest player in college football. By
Heisman.
Awarding the Heisman Trophy. So Travis Hunter of Colorado won it. I have opinions about it,
okay,
but I'm curious of yours.
Deservedly so. Congratulations, Mr. Hunter. I believe now that you have a Heisman, we can call you Mr. Hunter. You have earned that right. Travis is a two-way star, if you're not familiar, from Colorado, who is one of the most, if not the most dominant player in football right now on each side of the ball. So you might find a guy that's a really good offensive guy. He might be the most dominant offensive guy and the most dominant defensive guy. He plays more snaps. I don't have any numbers here in front of me, but he plays more snaps than anybody. He is also, I think, probably a return guy. I mean, first two-way star since Charles Woodson, deservedly so, to win the Heisman. Ashton Genty, is that how you say
yes,
it? Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise. Another very deserved candidate. Coming in a close second. I think they said the closest second-place votes in for a while. I think a guy that's breaking the rushing record. I mean, that in itself is deserving of the Heisman. But what Travis Hunter did this year is, it's special, and I think they got it right.
Yeah, I feel like Travis Hunter's ability on the football field is a great embodiment of the evolution of the game. I feel like he's an absolute freak of nature athlete. Going into the league, I'm sure he's had to answer this question a million times. What do you think? Because you can't play two ways in the league.
It'd be hard.
Deion tried it.
It'd be hard. I don't think you can do it at the level that he did it in terms of volume.
Sure.
Because he's literally on the field for every defensive play, every offensive play. Like, you're just going to get worn out.
Yeah.
Could he do, like, maybe, say if he decides to be a receiver first, which I think and I don't know. I'm not gonna. I've watched a few other games. I don't know. I'd love to get other people's perspective, Coach Prime's perspective. Like, is he a better offense or defensive guy? And I'm sure Coach Prime's gonna say he's equally as great at both, and I agree. But like, if he's gonna translate in the NFL, which one is he going to be an all-pro at? Maybe both. I don't know, but just in terms of how you can do it. So let's say he plays defense as his main job. Okay, we're going to put him in on third downs on offense, or specialty plays, or red zone, or you have a handful of plays for him to play both ways. That way you can rest him and get him, because it's NFL seasons are long and they're hard, and you're going to have to be physical, and I think you could wear the young man down faster by doing too much. Say he's offense, and offensive is his primary receivers, his primary focus. Then I think on defense, you put him in the same situation. Situational down, he's a nickel guy, he's a dime guy. Maybe you move a corner inside to be a dime guy, and he's your main outside guy. I think it'd be asking a lot to make him like a shutdown corner and a number one receiver. Like, to put him on a George Pickens, Devontae Adams, Nico Collins, name these stars where he's like, okay, you got to follow him around. That's asking a lot. And play full-time offense, that's asking a lot. From what I've seen, if anyone can do it, he can do it. But to sustain that for a long NFL career, that could be tricky.
Yeah, I mean that's the number one thing I think about when I think about his career in the NFL is which position has typically a longer lifespan. I would imagine defense, right? The cornerback.
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends. I think you could look at both positions and say, okay, there's a guy that did it. But I mean, I think traditionally, like if I think of who has had the longest career, I would say receivers. You know, you get the Jerry Rices that have played for a long time. Like and just off the top of my head, I don't know any corners that played for, I mean, there probably are, but I think there's got to be more receivers that played 15 plus years over DBs, I would think.
Sure.
Not positive, but that'd be just if you told me to pick one right now, that's what I would guess.
Yeah, if you do something like that where you're like, hey, I'm going to plug you into the unit on situational downs or whatever, how big of an impact does having a guy that's not out there, part of the unit for the majority of it, how big of an impact does that have coming in, relying on that guy's talent to do something significant?
When you got a guy that's that good,
doesn't matter.
No, because he'll practice. You know, they know when he's coming in and he's a practice guy. You know, I think it's something where maybe you'll see him do a lot of it for the first, 3, 4, 5 years of his career, and then maybe start to taper one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's start to use him a little less here or a little more here or whatever it is. So, I don't know, but he is a generational talent for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it, man. Like, and
Coach Prime, if you want to come on and have this conversation, you're invited. We'd love to have you.
I'd love to talk to Coach Prime about that, man. I feel like on the business side of things, how would you structure that contract? Because you can't, if you're going to leverage in both positions, there isn't, typically you would use the market value of the position to structure the contract. Obviously, you got your rookie deal anyway, so you got 4 years.
Nothing's going to happen early on because he's going to be slotted, right? But listen, if he's in 3 years, if he's shining on both positions, if I'm his agent, I'm saying, hey, listen, give me the top wide receiver money, the top DB money. Let's add them both up, average it up, divide it by this, and make him the highest paid, defensive guy. Who's paying the most? DBs, wide receivers.
Right.
He's making that plus some. If he's truly shining at both,
buddy,
absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, give me a shot at this. You know what I mean? Yeah, I ran out of breath chasing my 3-year-old daughter around my house last night. So I think this is the closest I'm getting to an NFL career. Speaking of that, let's keep this train moving, man. I want to jump before we go into the round of the league, man. Let's do Seven's top 7.
Yes,
all right,
love it.
And so here's my thought about it, though. How we're going to structure this up a little bit. Let's do the festive thing first.
Oh,
the because
7-7. Oh,
yeah, because I got a little festive thing.
Okay,
we've talked about this sometimes. I feel like around this time of year because there is opportunity for debate.
Of course,
but then we'll get.
There's always debate when I put my 7-7 out. That's the fun part.
Yep, you're just.
And this one's going to create a lot of debate. My top 7 list here is going to create a lot of debate, which is fine. And again, the great thing about this country we live in is this is my opinion. It doesn't have to be your opinion. And if you don't agree with me, too bad.
I thought you were going to say, you're wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I was going to, but I wanted to be nice. I'm cheery.
I'm cheery. Yeah, Cheerwine. All right, so 7's top 7 holiday edition. Top 7 Christmas movies of all time.
Okay, got my football notebook here. These are in no particular order because that is not fair because some years I might like this one better than that one and some days I might like this one more than that one. So what I did is I created a list here. And there's and sometimes when you get into stuff like this, you have to really, it's tough. Because I tried to think like, okay, this movie is a classic, I'll say. And I'll be like, but if it's on TV, am I watching it every time it's on? To me, that makes the top 7 list. Okay, so I'm going to start this thing. So it's not officially the list yet. Just a few honorable mentions that just missed the list. Okay, so I'm going to hit shows like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation.
Oh,
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Those aren't on the list.
These are my honorable mentions. Wow. Frosty the Snowman, which my kids used to call him Krusty. We watching Krusty today?
You get the bootleg version?
I don't know, maybe I did. Miracle on 34th Street, another one, all-time classic. A lot of people are going to argue with me. That's on my honorable mention. It doesn't go on because, again, if it's on TV, I'm not going to be like, it's on, let's watch it.
Interesting.
Okay? And then my last honorable mention that I put on here, because it was between this one or one that did make my list, and I decided to put him in honorable mention, is The Grinch.
The Grinch didn't? You're talking Jim Carrey's?
Did not make my top 7.
Wow.
Just saying.
I don't even know you, man.
I know you're a big Grinch fan. I think Jim just sometimes goes over the top. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Christmas edition of 7's top 7 in no particular order.
Okay.
4 Christmases. Home Alone. The Polar Express, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Elf, Die Hard, and The Christmas Story.
That's a pretty solid list, and we have to talk about one of those specifically.
Elf?
I mean, well, yeah, we can talk about no, we can talk about Elf if you want. We have to have the annual debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I know.
What constitutes a what makes something? Let's try to solve this once and for all. What makes something a Christmas movie? Does it taking place around Christmas?
That's important.
Make it a Christmas movie.
It's very important. Very important. The movie takes place during Christmas. I think that's super important. Is there any point where there's a Santa outfit, Santa hat, a reindeer, an elf, Christmas lights? All those things all come into play.
Yeah.
There's Christmas trees in there. There's presents in there. It happens around Christmas time. So I think it falls in that category.
I give it to you. I would be lying if I said I didn't watch it around Christmas.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I haven't watched it all. I mean, I haven't watched it in forever since in the year.
Right. So,
and I recommend the VidAngel or the
yes.
cable version.
The VidAngel version of Die Hard is 43 seconds long.
Yeah, you don't
you
get.
know what I'm saying?
I would like no violence, no cursing, and you get the credits and the ending. That's it.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's a solid list, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, Four Christmases, I think is like a cult. Like that's like one of my cult ones. Like I quote that all the time because I think Vince Vaughn is one of my most favorite and funniest actors, and that is just a absolutely hilarious movie to me. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my list.
Yeah, I'm definitely
sticking to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting the Grinch on that.
I knew you would, and again, I put Polar Express because I was debating between the Grinch and the Polar Express. And I just again, if one of those two are on, the kids are probably maybe picking the Grinch. Well, some of the kids are. We don't let my daughter watch the Jim Carrey Grinch because he gets a little creepy. Yeah,
like
scares me too.
Yeah,
I can't sleep.
No, dude, that mask that I wore last year or whatever.
Scared me.
My daughter can't look at that, but she loves the new Grinch, the animated one. I don't really like that one, but she loves it because it's cartoony and But yeah, right. I mean it's a solid list. Okay. Four Christmases is a sleeper cell. People like you forget how good that one is.
It's great to me.
Yeah,
that's one. If it's on, I am watching it.
100%. You're stopping what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. Yep. Clicking that one on.
Do you guys do? I don't know if like Ash is into this at all, or if she has time to even watch anything with her school. But do you guys do like the Hallmark cheesy Christmas?
No,
stuff?
my mom will do that.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Okay.
No.
All right. So let's move on to Seven's top seven. We've been doing this the last couple of weeks as we're getting closer to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Again, this is not a list of seeds because a future Hall of Fame quarterback is aware how seeds work. This is just a list of the top.
My top teams.
There's a lot of people, and I'll just address it. A lot of people that were confused on the list as some of the lists didn't line up on how the actual seeding worked.
Correct. Understand that.
So just to clarify, this is your top 7 teams in each conference, NFC, AFC. Let's start
in a particular order.
This is okay. Yeah, this is actual.
This is like I list them from. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up, or whatever, however we do it. But this is in order. And again, like Spence said, it's not about that team can't be the 3 because they're in the same divisions. This is just how I'm ranking my teams in the AFC and the NFC. It changes every week, just like this is a power rankings type thing, I guess. There you go. And it changes every week. And so you're going to be like, wait a second, Ben, that team, yes, it can change. I can watch a team and say, wow, that team just impressed me. Or wow, that team did not impress me. I'm moving them down.
The Flint Tropics.
Wait, who's, right? Oh, and it's my list, so it's okay. So we're going to start in the NFC.
Okay, NFC, 7's top 7.
Which way do you want to go?
Let's go 7-1.
7-1.
Yep.
Okay. I technically don't have a 7. I have a 6.
Oh, okay. Well, then flip it.
Because I have a 1A and 1B.
Okay. So, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's a little confusing, but let's go backwards. We'll go backwards. At number 6, I have Seattle. They dropped quite a bit if you remember last week's. Number 5, I have LA, the Rams. At number 4, I have a newcomer, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because they are playing really good football right now. Number 3, Green Bay. Isn't changing, I don't believe. Not changing. Minnesota at number 2. 1B, because the door is not just open. They've got a foot and an arm, and they're halfway in it, is Philly. And the Lions are still at the 1A spot. But that room that right there that sits right there at the 1, Philly's halfway in there with them.
Jeez.
So that's my NFC. The Lions took a little bit of a
Yeah.
We saw some stuff. Plus, they're getting injured. I'm a little nervous about the Lions right now, but Philly, they are right now healthy, and they are a complete football team. So that's my NFC list.
And just briefly, because I want to jump to the AFC, and then we can go back and maybe talk about, use that list to inform the around the league conversation. Where was Philly last week?
Philly was my 2.
Okay.
Yes, Philly was 2 the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that
but
makes
a
sense.
clear 2. I have a little up arrow that they're like moving up.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so my top 4 really don't change. Minnesota Green. The big mover is I bumped Seattle down.
And the Bucs.
And I put the Bucs in there.
I like to see
and
that.
I jumped the Bucs all the way to 4.
They came in, they kicked the door into the list. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, but let's go to the AFC first.
Okay.
7's top 7, AFC.
AFC. From number 7, I got the Broncos, who are still there. The Chargers are now at 6. They dropped down quite a bit. I have number 5, I have the Texans, who went up 1. Number 4, I have Baltimore. Number 3, I have the Steelers. Number 2, I have the Chiefs. And number 1, I have the Bills. And I will say this. The Steelers are closer to the Chiefs this week than they were last week. Even though they got beat by Philly, I think Philly might be the best team in football after Buffalo. But the way their defense is playing, they might be the best team in football. So when you lose to what I consider the best team in football, that's a bigger deal and moves you actually up as compared to being a team that beats a team that's not very good, as in the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat the Browns. The Browns are not really good, so that doesn't do much to impress me. The Steelers, they lost 2 scores to the Philly, but Philly is that good of a football team that I have the Steelers right there behind Kansas City.
Yeah, that's a solid list. I don't know if I would put the Broncos. I would switch the Broncos and the Chargers.
So you know why I'm not? Because of the quarterback. At the end of the day,
I would do it because of the quarterback.
Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Bo Nix.
I agree with that. I also think that Bo Nix is on a streak right now. I feel like he has a hot hand where
didn't play great. I mean, you know what
I mean?
Their team is a little streaky right now. They're streaking in a good way. But when it gets to the playoffs and things get tighter and you get, it's more crucial. I'm going to take a guy right now that I think has more experience as a better player.
You trust in Justin?
Listen, I'm not. The Texans make me really nervous. Like, we were so quick to anoint C.J. Stroud as the next greatest thing that people didn't listen to my advice of waiting for 2, 3, even maybe 4 years before we do that. And I think he's a good football player, and I think he's got a chance to still be great. But we got to stop lifting guys on these pedestals. Same thing, like, Caleb Williams coming in the league. He's going to be this. Relax. Let them earn it first. Let them get into it. Not saying they're not going to be or they're not good football players. And obviously the Texans are dealing with injury and this, that, and the other. But he has a lot of weapons, and I think we got to be careful at how fast we anoint these guys after 1 year. And so that's why I'm not, the Bo Nix thing, I think is probably about perfect for him because he hasn't skyrocketed where people are like, oh, he's the greatest. No, he's not the greatest right now, but you know what he's doing is he's grinding wins. He's finding ways to learn and grow and learn under a great coach and Sean Payton. So I just, that's a big tangent to say about, like CJ and this, that, and the other, but I still think Justin is a guy that I trust in the postseason if it started today more than I do Bo.
Yeah, I think Justin is one of those quarterbacks that I feel like if he just had pieces, I don't know what missing pieces are he's missing, if you will.
Yeah, they need some help. They need to get Justin help. I don't think that when Harbaugh came in, he really wanted to make any other big splashes right away. I think there was some talk about him kind of keeping it in-house. I think if they go out and they get Justin a really, really stud receiver or 2 running back, maybe even 2 receivers. It's an interesting concept of having a number 1 and a number 2.
You don't need that.
Those are some things you want to think about. But I think that will propel them to the next level for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's a freak of nature too, man. Tough guy. Yep. All right, well, solid list, man. I'd like to see, obviously, the black and gold continue to move up. We have an opportunity to do this in the coming weeks with, it feels like one of those tournaments that when you play in sports when you're 12, where you just go and play 40 games in a weekend. That's crazy. That's the next schedule.
This schedule is going to be crazy. I mean, this 3 game in 11 days and the teams that we're playing it's a gauntlet, man. It's a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Which is why they need to really consider, and we can talk about as we get to the game, consider how they're playing guys and who they're playing in terms of injuries.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that they should think strongly about.
Yeah, that's a very interesting conversation, which we'll dive into. But I want to go back real quick. We're talking about Justin Herbert and the Bucs coming into the NFC top 7 list. Dude, the Bucs put 40 on the Chargers.
A good defense too. A team that doesn't allow a lot of points.
Can you explain to me, maybe give a little bit of insight? Obviously, the Bucs are playing well, so they make the list. But what else are you seeing from the Bucs that lets them make it so high onto the list so quickly?
Yeah, they're a team. I didn't watch the game. I watched some highlights and saw the score obviously, but they're a team that got injured early, and I think that's why you kind of see the record where it is. And now they're getting healthy, and now they're a team that is starting to play good. They have a quarterback in Baker who's just playing. He's playing carefree in a sense. I mean, he's gunslinging. He doesn't care about if he throws an interception or a touchdown. He's going on. He's playing at an extremely high level right now, and I think that's huge for that team. But they're healthy. They're getting healthy at the right time, which is the exact opposite of the Lions, which makes me nervous about Detroit. You're healthy all year and you're playing well. So that's why they jumped. I mean, they weren't. They were probably just outside my top 7 last week, and now because of the way that they beat the Chargers, it wasn't like they just won. I mean, it was easy.
Yes,
40-some point. I mean, that's not something you do just by chance.
Yeah. You got to be knowing what you're doing.
That's why they're a legit team that people are not going to want to see in the postseason. I do not believe.
I think the Bucs actually have more up their sleeve than a lot of people are giving them credit. I mean, you think about, I think the top 3 greatest teams in football right now, the Bills, the Eagles, and the Lions, and they've beat 2 of the 3.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
I'd be curious to see how Baker performs under the playoff pressure.
But he's been there before.
Sure.
It's not new for him, right? I think he'll be okay. I think they have enough guys there that know what's going on. By the way, I just thought about that. That Cheerwine ale tastes like Dr. Pepper chapstick. Remember that stuff?
Oh, yeah, dude.
It's exactly what it tastes like. Anyway, very random, I know. I was like, why is that bothering me so much?
No, what a reference, though, bro.
Yeah, so
Good for you, man.
I think Baker will be just fine in the postseason because he's been there, done that. It's not going to be new for him, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah,
and
you mentioned the significance of getting healthy at the right time. Not only clicking as a unit at the right time, which is something we've talked about all year, but also getting healthy at the right time. The team that isn't doing that, and we're seeing that, Detroit. Let's go to the Bills and the Lions. That might have been the Super Bowl, for all we know.
Yeah, it's a potential preview. Unfortunately, I don't think that Detroit is just on the decline right now. To me, I think their offense can do great things and can score with anybody. But it's this time of year when you need your defense to step up. You need to have a defense to make a true run. You can outscore people to a certain extent, but you got to have a defense that can step up and stop someone else that can score. And Detroit has a really good defense, but they're a very banged up defense. I think just added a couple more guys to IR. It's not good for them when you get there. Again, their offense can score, can do some great things, but it would make me nervous as a Lions fan with all the injuries that are happening on defense to say, can we go out there? I mean, the Bills came into Detroit. It's not like they went to Buffalo and did it. Mm-hmm. It was at their home, and it looked like Buffalo could do whatever they wanted. Literally score however you want, whenever you want, whoever you want. Mm-hmm. Now, it does help to have what I think probably is the MVP of the league in Josh Allen, but it still goes back to the fact that I don't think the Lions are going to be playing their best football right now because of injuries. I think it hurts them a lot.
Yeah, well, so you mentioned the Bills defense, and so I have 2 questions on this game specifically. The Bills defense, did the Bills defense prove to be on par with their offense in these last 2 weeks? Because their defense was a concern early on in the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they had some injuries early on. Listen, their defense is not as good as their offense because their offense is through the roof. But you don't have to be as good. You just have to be sufficient and be able to get by and to not give up 40. I think it helps when you know that you have an offense that's going to probably score 40 as a defense because you're like, okay, they got a touchdown here. If you're the Bills defense, like, okay, they scored here, that's okay. Even if they score 21, you're like, our offense is going to outscore them at 21. So you don't have to go into it with as much pressure. You can play more carefree. It's a lot like an offense that has a really good defense, which I've been a part of in many times in the past with the great Steeler defenses, is you can play more carefree because you know that they're going to stop them. Right? I've mentioned on this show before. I can throw an interception knowing that the defense might get an interception back. James Harrison might get a strip sack. TJ, whatever it is, you know that the defense isn't going to give up 30 points a game. So it's like it makes you feel different. And so I think that's how the Bills defense is playing. They're playing with an understanding that, okay, we can give up some. We're not going to give up 30, but we can give up in the 20s, knowing our offense is going to go dominate. So I think it's a good feeling to have if you're Buffalo.
Yeah, and you'd mentioned Josh Allen, who you believe is the MVP. Do you think in this last performance against the Lions that he secured that MVP?
Secured, it's hard because you never know if Saquon's going to jump over 6 people next time or something. I think what it didn't help him against Pittsburgh that he didn't do a whole lot. I think the injury kind of brought him out, and I think Philly went into the game too trying to say, listen, there was some riff about the passing game between AJ and Hurts and all this, that, and the other. So going into that game, I knew it. I told Benjamin, I said, listen, they're going to throw the ball a lot this game, or they're going to try and throw it a lot. And the strength of their team is to run the ball, be physical. So I was kind of thinking like, okay, there's a chance that they might try so hard to throw the ball that they almost throw themselves out of the game. But it was important for them to try and establish that they have more than one dimension on offense, Philly. And they did that. They came out and they threw the ball well. They ran the ball okay. But they showed they can do both. And so I think Josh he's going to win it because he just is playing unbelievable football right now. I don't see how anybody can. I think Saquon would have had to keep pace.
Sure.
So unless he goes, and Josh could go out and play not well in the next couple games, and Saquon go have ridiculous games, and you can do it. But I think Josh has a decent leg up right now.
Do you think quarterbacks are, I want to say, given a better look than other position players for MVP?
Yeah, probably. I mean, just because the ball's in your hand every single play, and I think it just is naturally going to go there. That's why I think Saquon had to break the record and do something incredibly special for it to go his way,
Yeah, I think he did that this year.
Yeah.
Last game I want to talk about before we get to the Steelers game is the Chiefs and the Browns, right? You're talking about injuries. Obviously, this time of year, that becomes a huge topic of discussion on the teams you think are actually going to make a run, be able to perform well in the postseason. I don't think there's an injury more catastrophic than the Chiefs watching Patrick Mahomes limp off the field.
Yeah.
What was your take when you were watching that?
Other than maybe TJ Watt for the Steelers.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's I haven't heard. I mean, I think they'll probably play it pretty close to the vest in terms of what exactly it is, how bad it is. I think that they're going to Houston, I believe, this week. I think it's one that they probably could say, let's rest him. Again, this is all speculation because I don't know how bad the injury is. Because you're in the postseason, but that number one spot is very coveted. To have that bye, so it's not like you can just be like, okay, we're in, we can let him rest for 3 weeks. You're still looking for that one spot, and truly, it's kind of, we can get into it in Pittsburgh. We talk about Pittsburgh, like their guys. What's important? Getting it is important, and then trying to get that 1 or 2 spot and getting a home game is important in the postseason. If I'm Kansas City and I'm the head coach, again, this is me not knowing the details of the injury and the significance of it. I'm probably resting him this week. I might even rest him against the Steelers, to be honest. Really? I might. I mean, it's such a short time. You can't let them play both of them because they have the same thing we do, right? 11 games, 3 games in 11 days.
Yeah.
I don't think you can let him, if he's truly banged up and you want to make a run, I don't think you can let him play all 3. So maybe they again, that's why I think they let him rest this one and bring him out against Pittsburgh. I think the NFL will put a little pressure on him too to make Patrick play on Christmas because that's what that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
So it's definitely scary because if you don't have that guy, you're a completely different team, obviously.
Yeah, what they got? Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Who obviously was a great quarterback in his time, but it's
good to have a vet, but it's Patrick Mahomes.
Good to have a vet, and you can't replace that dude.
Yeah, honestly, man, it makes sense as I'm thinking about it to rest this week. I mean, I'm thinking about weather conditions too, though. You probably would rather rest when you're playing outdoors in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
in December.
But you're going to put him in there on a short week and let him rest. And maybe it's if they go win this week and I don't know their playoff scenario. Like if they win one, I mean, what do they have to do to keep the 1 seed or the 2? Wherever their spot is. So, I don't know. It's going to be a tricky choice for Andy.
As you know, like very intimately, a guy like that's like, oh, I'm fine. Tape it up.
Yeah, I assume he wants to play. Now, he was very vocal about the 3 games in 11 days, like how it's bad for their bodies and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Maybe this is his way of being like, hey, now I'll get my rest.
Yeah.
But he's also knows, I mean, he's a competitor, and he knows what it takes to help his team and what it's going to take. And so I assume that he's going to want to be out there for his guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do and how I would want to do it is like I'm doing everything I can to be out there with my team. But you also have to not hurt your team by potentially getting hurt worse.
Sure.
Because that's a dude you need to have out there.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the same ankle, but the last Super Bowl when he got in the AFC Championship game, if it's the same one, now we're looking at compounded issues. It's a whole thing, man. Either way, I agree with you on the Christmas move. Like, hey, buddy, you're part of a production at this point.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so. Well, speaking about Christmas, Southern Tier, the next beer we have here. You like that segue? Southern Tier is providing this next beer. They did not provide it for us. They make it. I'm sure one of us bought this, but I found it in your beer fridge, so I grabbed it because I figured 'tis the season. It is the Southern Tier 2 Xmas Double Spiced Ale, 8%, and it's bold, dynamic, and extraordinary. This is one of those ones that is this time of year. I feel like one of the big Christmas beers. Right, I feel like every holiday party you go to, you're going to see this there.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas movie. It's going to be on.
It's what a great call.
And you know what it smells like?
Yeah.
Christmas beer.
All right, dude, let's do this. If you had to put a Christmas movie associated with the beers we have today, what Christmas movie would that Cheerwine Ale be?
Oh, man.
I mean,
probably like Home Alone.
Oh. Yeah, what is that?
It's like, it's little feel. It's a feel good. It's light. It's
whimsical.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah,
it's got a Dr. Pepper chapstick taste to it.
That's what I hear. All right, this is the Southern Tier 2 Xmas.
Ooh, that's that back end mouth
feel
is strong. It's good though. It's not bad. That's not bad. That I could. This isn't one of those spiced ones that I'm like, man, I can't even finish that guy. I could finish this and maybe have another one. This,
it's 8%, bud.
I'm sorry?
That's 8%. You have that. Your second one might come with a blanket.
Night.
Dude, that smells way worse than it tastes.
When I smelled it, I was like, hey, there it is.
It smells like a candle. It actually tastes pretty decent.
I'm just gonna do one more.
I'm not
little guy because I don't want to.
I don't like the holidays.
Make sure I'm not sleeping when the food comes down.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'll wake you up for sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what are your guys' favorite Christmas beers? Do you guys like the do you guys like the holiday super spicy stuff? Because you're not going to drink it all year. So do you guys like?
Yeah, like the Mad Elf.
Don't get elfed.
Don't get elfed.
Don't get elfed. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah,
I wouldn't order this though. If you brought this over, like we went to Southern Tier, you're like, yo man, I got you one of these. I drink it.
Yeah.
But
not ordering another one.
No, I'd curl up in a booth in the corner and fall asleep.
I feel like this is one that you're like after dinner, like you're sitting around the fire, you're hanging. I'm gonna have one more tonight. Okay, give me a little one to help me go night.
Yeah. It's good though.
Yeah, that's like a Christmas vacation to me a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Christmas vacation's fun though. I don't know. I was gonna say Die Hard, but I have a feeling that like it's like there's always a chance that there's one more coming that's going to be like Die Hard.
well, the next one I think is actually named after a quote from Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be wrong on that, but I'm sure the internet will remind me. Anyway,
that's good. I like that
that's
beer.
A solid beer.
Yeah. Thank you, Southern Tier. Not that you provided it again, but thank you for making it.
If you want to provide us with something else to try on here, we gladly accept.
Like that.
All right. This is it. Steelers, Eagles.
Okay.
Where to start? Well, first, let's start by acknowledging the fact that we got beat by a really good team.
Really good team.
We got beat by a very good team. It was something that I probably didn't pay too much attention to the defense, as much attention to the defense as I probably should have going into this game as a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
So let's get your overview real quick, and then I have a couple questions on some key moments throughout the game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think kind of talking on it, I don't feel as bad about losing this game as maybe other people do potentially. And again, I don't know how everyone feels. I mean, I guess every loss probably people take it hard. This was a really good football team that we played, maybe the best in the NFL. I know it's one of the best, maybe the best. Has a really good defense, a really stout, strong, rush for, get after you defense, which was going to make, I wanted to see what our offense could do. And obviously we didn't have George out there, which is huge not to have that weapon, one of the best receivers in the game. So I wanted to see what it was going to look like out there against them without him. Knew it was going to be tough. This is a chance for Russ to really step up, I think, and cement himself as a guy. Not saying he didn't do it, but it was going to be tough sledding. It was going to be hard. Yeah. I think this is as I said before, this is a team in Philly that coming into this, I'm like, there was some talk about the passing game and how it's not on sync. So I was like, okay, again, like I just said, there's a chance that they could come in and just try and throw the ball, make people happy, and that would be to our benefit. They did it, in my opinion. They threw the ball a lot, but it benefited them. It showed to me and to probably the rest of the NFL that they can beat you in multiple ways, which is scary. They can beat you with a good defense. They can beat you with this team on offense, throwing or running. They had time to throw. There were times that Hurts was just sitting back there looking for guys. Now, we got pressure. I mean, Alex got a sack. I know TJ was doing his thing before he got hurt. And it wasn't like we weren't getting any pressure, but there were times that he was just sitting back there.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I say that this doesn't hurt me as bad as maybe other people because I know how good this team is, the Philly team. And we got 2 turnovers from them, which I think if we don't get those turnovers, it's a chance it's a blowout, and then we maybe feel worse about ourselves. The part that concerns me is we get 2 turnovers inside the 20 and we get 3 points.
Yeah. That's
concerning to me. The red zone offense is concerning. Our offense being a slow starter, which I've been a part of, slow starting. I get it. I think like you could sit there and say like, man, we were in it at halftime. We were, but we also were in it because we gave a muff punt back to him and Jalen fumbled. Like if those things don't happen, I don't think it's as close of a game as we think. Again, I'm going to use the caveat that is maybe the best team in football. I'd rather lose to the best team in football, I think, than, man, I don't know, this is going to come out wrong. I'm going to use the analogy of the Chiefs game beating the Browns. The Chiefs beating the Browns, to me, was less impressive because they beat a bad team.
Sure.
Us playing a good team and keeping it kind of, close and competing and knowing what it's like to play a good team means something. I know I'm kind of speaking out both sides of my mouth, but I'm just kind of spitballing my thoughts. Which is why I'm keeping us at the 3 spot and pushing the Chiefs at number 2. I just think that Philly team was so good.
Go ahead.
No, I was just, and I guess I want to finish my thought about this game not being as important. This week's game against Baltimore is a bigger game to me than this last one, and you could probably argue this one maybe that isn't even as big of a deal as the Chiefs game. You want to win the North, obviously, and you're still pushing to try and get one of those top seeds, but this you can get by. I think losing this game is to win the North.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I would agree with what you're saying as far as like, hey man, if you're gonna lose to someone who you were better than us on that day for sure. You don't want to fall into the trap games and stuff like that. My rebuttal to that when we were texting about it, I'm like, well, in the postseason, you don't face bad teams.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Agreed. And so it's like, yeah, we might have lost to the best team in football, but the goal of the end of the season is to be the best team in football. So if we can't beat them, then.
But the good news is you wouldn't have to play that team or the Lions to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
There's only one team I fear on our side, and that's Buffalo.
Sure. Yeah, but I think Buffalo's better than Philly.
That's a tough one. I think if they played 10 times, I think it's going to be real close to a split. I think Philly just is showing that their offense can be better than you expect. They can run the ball better. They've got the passing weapons. Josh is doing more with less. The reason I hesitate on that is I think Philly's defense is better than the Bills.
Bills offense?
than the Bills defense.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm going,
I
if
agree
I'm
with
going
that.
complete teams. I think Buffalo has a better offense, not crazy better, but better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Philly's defense is crazy better than Buffalo's. I think Buffalo's defense is playing more carefree because they know what their offense is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Watching that Philly game was like, man, that's a good team.
Yeah. Well, dude, you'd mentioned this, and I'd love to dive in a little bit deeper on this. Maybe 90% of the time, they're only rushing 4.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. When you can rush 4 and still get home, that's scary because that means you got all the guys. There's nowhere to throw it in the back end. And you typically when you rush 4, you're thinking, okay, I got time to get this ball off. Like I'm going to sit here. I got 5 blocking plus a tight end, maybe chipping, running back chipping. I got time to sit back here and make things happen. They were still getting to us. And now listen, it's going to continue to get harder for our line up front. We talked about how well they've been playing well throughout the year, but it's also full of young guys who came straight from college. We talked about this in the past. College, a full season of college, training for the NFL, into an NFL season and starting. Like you're worn out.
Yeah.
And so you're going to start, it's going to keep getting tougher for those young guys up front, especially when you're playing really good football teams. And you've got Baltimore coming up this week, who defense is not obviously good, but they're getting a little bit better. And then you've got a Chiefs defense who's playing better than I think their offense is. And you've got Chris Jones, who's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, dude.
So I just think that is scary when you're rushing 4 and you're able to get home.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Hey, Chef Evan, welcome to the show.
Time.
Sheesh, that looks delicious. Let me get you some plates, brother. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You good?
All right, see you later. Your mic's over there. Just don't knock the picture over.
We'll be careful this time.
Careful.
I nailed it. I nailed it to the post.
Nailed the poster over. Hi, Evan. How are you?
I'm doing well. And
Good
you?
to see you, man.
Thank you. We got knives. Careful.
Funny for you to come down just right now because we were in the middle of talking about the Steelers game.
Oh, wow.
Did you watch the game?
Unfortunately, I did not.
I'm sorry?
I did not. We were celebrating a birthday this weekend, so
You had a birthday.
not me.
Oh, okay.
But
I knew it was your birthday.
yeah. But I did listen when I was in the car, and I followed it on like the game cast on my phone.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get it to watch it on my phone because you have to be on home Wi-Fi to watch local channels. So yeah,
Racket.
it was upsetting, but
Was that like the first game you haven't watched in a long time?
probably in like 10 years.
Wait, there's games that I played you didn't watch?
Wow,
Maybe.
man.
That's a long way to
Wow.
to look back, you know. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Wow. 2 times this episode I've been called old.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to hurt any feelings.
Okay. Well, I guess
I
we
mean,
know.
I am, but I'm
we
not
know why
trying
we
to.
lost then, huh?
Yeah. I was gonna say-
Sometimes family takes precedent over football.
What
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
what other times it doesn't? You said sometimes.
I mean, I would
Depends
think
on what family member.
correct. Yeah, depends on the family member, the timing, and the event.
If the
Yeah.
if the Stillers were in the Super Bowl and the same situation happened,
Oh man,
Evan would be mysteriously sick and
Actually,
can't
don't-
attend the parties.
I don't want you to get in trouble. 'cause
Someone
I know
would
what
be
you
upset.
missed. I know what you missed. So I don't want you to get in trouble. But if it was your mom's birthday,
she would be watching the Steelers game.
Yeah.
all right. Well, we'll let this one pass. I do have a couple thoughts from the game. Not necessarily the game, but like your thoughts moving forward. Obviously, with TJ potentially being hurt
Yes.
and maybe playing this week, not playing this week, and then George as well. Do you think that you should, at those 2 guys, knowing that we're in the playoffs, right? We're in the postseason.
Yes,
Obviously, still looking for the home game and potentially still trying to get certain spots.
correct.
Do you think if those 2 guys are not, I mean, listen, nobody's 100% this time of year. We've talked about that. But if they're not close to a position of being able to play, like if they're both 50%, or what's the percentage that you want those guys out there this week, knowing that you also have the Chiefs in 4 days, right?
Yeah.
After that. Like, what are your thoughts on the injuries and if you play them or don't play them?
I would prefer them like everyone else at 100%, but I think maybe 70% for TJ,
Okay.
and I think
So if he's not 70, you're like, TJ, I can't have you out there.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it's so difficult because especially against Baltimore and having him come off that edge adds that pressure to Lamar, and I think speeds up his game and throws him off. And I mean, I think Highsmith can do it, and who's the other? You'd have to put Herbig in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, Herbig's been playing, pretty big all year. So I have confidence in those guys. So I think you could give TJ a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give him a rest.
Because you got to get help. You got to be ready to go when it matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, and the Chiefs too. If Mahomes might be out this week, and I don't know if they'll keep him out for 2 weeks in a row. That might be helpful. You could possibly keep TJ out 2 weeks in a row if you needed to.
So if Patrick isn't playing, you think keep TJ out, like don't play him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little easier decision than it is this week.
Yeah.
But, our defense is pretty deep. So hopefully those guys, Highsmith and Herbig will step up and, carry on the tradition.
Yeah, I think if Pat's not there, you're not putting TJ in. Right?
I wouldn't, but I don't know. Okay, well, I don't take much. You can. I would love to. I should have done this first. I apologize because I wanted to eat.
That's okay.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right here we have some ground bison stuffed banana peppers.
Are they spicy or no?
They are spicy. Yes. And then I made some steak and potato bites. They're Cajun steak and potato bites with a little bit of boursin and cheese.
When you say steak and potato bites, it looks like there's a little potato.
Correct. Yeah, the potato is the vessel.
Listen, you know what? And forgive me for not setting up the food camp today because this is absolutely
It is spectacular.
Thank you.
And then what do we have up here?
Buffalo chicken quesadilla.
Did you buy that at Giant Eagle? Looks like it.
No, I didn't buy the case. I bought the ingredients to make the quesadilla at Giant Eagle.
Of course.
And then to go with your buffalo chicken quesadilla, there's a little dill pickle ranch.
Why wouldn't there be, right?
I don't know.
Why? Does dill pickle go with buffalo?
I think it does.
I love a good
I'm not a big dill pickle, but I'm going to
dill
try it.
ranch.
Dill ranch. Oh,
My man.
You got that heat coming off of the buffalo because on the outside it doesn't look very spicy. The inside is.
Ooh.
I made
It's kind of like Chef Evan. On the outside, he doesn't look spicy.
Well,
calm,
inside,
cool.
He's spicy.
There's a fire in there.
Oh yeah,
there's a fire in there.
Yeah, this quesadilla needs therapy, is what you're telling me.
A little bit.
Yeah, okay.
But not too much.
Just a little
we
bit.
like the wild side.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Yeah.
You get it.
All right.
Yep.
Get it.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Have a good day.
Enjoy.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Look
All
at
right.
this, brother.
I'm just going to bite this.
Look at this. I mean, sheesh. Yeah, that's here, I'll do a little divvy. The Football and Family Dinner is brought to you by our good friends over at Giant Eagle. Especially this time of the year, I want to encourage you now more than ever. Stop by your Giant Eagle to get everything you need for your holiday plans. I'm telling you.
We are going to have a New Year's party like we always do, which you've been a part of all of them.
Yep, this is my chair.
And
I sit right here all
I
night.
actually think I sit here too.
Yeah.
And I am going to contact them and be like, hey, because my wife's always concerned, like, who's catering it? I'm like, no, I'm going to contact
You know a guy.
Giant Eagle.
You know a guy named Giant
His
Eagle.
name's Giant, last name Eagle. And be like, hey, what do we have?
Yes.
Because I know, like, everything we've had, all the pre-made stuff from the sandwiches to the wings, like all that, I can't even think of all the things we've had. But I'm like, listen, let's just stock up at Giant Eagle.
Yes.
Christmases, like all that stuff. So that's my plan.
Dude, I'm not a huge prepared foods guy. I like to cook, right? So I'm not a huge prepared foods guy. I want to make everything myself, down to sometimes like I'll make the bread of the sandwich I'm making.
Right.
But the prepared foods at Giant Eagle, and I'm not just saying this because we're sponsored, like legitimately, I probably eat their prepared foods 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It's just so easy, man. So the fact that we are sponsored by them, I feel great saying that because you should definitely go check that out. So, Giant Eagle, thank you so much for all you do for the show and all you do for Pittsburgh. I feel like I was maybe...
Does Philly have Giant Eagles? How far does Giant Eagle spread?
I don't know. I was going to say...
It's wings.
It's good for you, man. Look at this. My man's on it. Look at this. I don't know the region.
What I was saying is that's another reason we're better than Philly.
Oh, no, I mean, we don't have enough time in this episode to go through all those reasons, brother. But yeah, so you had touched on something, going back to the game real quick, because then we'll end the show with the family dinner. you touched on the TJ injury a little bit. Like, obviously, that's the most devastating thing. I saw TJ go down, and my heart sank.
Oh, me too.
Right into one of the rivers. I was like, man, what are we doing? The other thing I wanted to talk about, in that, or just some of the extracurriculars, because it's more of the rivalry, right? It's the in-state. What does playing Philly feel like as a player? Because it's not an
State
AFC
championship.
North. I guess I'm saying it's not an AFC North rivalry. It's a different rivalry, and you don't get it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
So what does it feel like when you actually get to go against
It's
the
so
East
weird
side?
that there's like such a. I mean, I guess I get it, but like the Bills and the Giants don't have it, or whatever. But
There's a battle for New York, but I don't really think anyone else is competing other than Buffalo.
what about Florida? Does Tampa and the Dolphins, is that a big game?
No.
So that's a little spicy. I like that.
I got a little creep up on you, bud.
I don't know. It's got to just be the state thing, because like you say, we're completely different conferences. It's all we always have. I feel like we have a hard time playing against them sometimes.
Yeah, well, dude.
I remember that's the game in Philly that I got sacked like 8 times. That I drove. I think we talked with Brett Kiesel. That I remember coming home like, I need to come to your house because I think I'm going to quit playing football.
Yeah, I'm done.
Like I'm done.
Was it against Philly?
I quit.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's just always physical. I mean, the fans. I think they. And again, I put them on my top list of fans. But I think at the end of the day, they want to be Steeler fans.
Don't we all?
Our fans aren't dirt. Like they've been known to throw batteries and different things. It's not cool, but I don't know why it's such a big rivalry. But it is. It's the Flyers and the Pens. I don't think the Phillies and the Pirates have a big rivalry.
I know. Ask Kutch. He would know.
I know. Hey, Kutch.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's a big game, and I would love to dominate them.
Yeah. Well, dude, I saw some stat like we haven't won in Philadelphia since like 1965 or something. Like I would imagine the Link is not an easy place to play, and it's 2 passionate sports towns. I think if you get anytime you have a passionate sports town, you're talking about the Bucs and the Dolphins. Like, listen, born and raised in Tampa, love Tampa sports, but it's not Pittsburgh, dude. It's not Philly. It's not like half of the people when I was growing up, at least half the people in Tampa or moved down there. Like. You know what I mean? It's only now I think you're getting like the natives that are.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just
The rivalry will always
been
be there.
around forever. Like
It'll always be there because it's always competitive too. Like you lose rivalries when it's one sided, right?
right, like the Browns.
Like me being Cleveland, it kind of lost its rivalry thing, right? Now I know they're starting to win a little bit now, but when you have 2 teams that it battles, it's something to
you
it.
want
You know
that, man? Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that's. Hey,
I don't know.
I know we've talked. This has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, but actually, I won't even say it because I don't want. I want to have another thing to talk about in this game. So the most you alluded or you touched on this briefly, but the most frustrating thing for me was the slow start to this game. I hope we get that figured out into the off season because we have clinched playoff. Moving forward, you watch this one. You go on to Baltimore. What beyond Baltimore? Because I feel like it's going to be a fight to take one game at a time because you're aware that you have 3 back-to-back. What is your mindset moving forward into such a crazy schedule,
Man,
especially after a loss like that?
staying healthy. How can we get out of staying healthy?
Yeah.
You know, find a way to win any way possible. I don't care if you win by 1 or 30. Just find a win. And get healthy too if you're not already healthy. You know, it's such a key to the season. Like I said, talk about the Bucs. They got injured, so their record went down. Now they're playing healthy. Detroit was healthy. Now they're losing guys. Yeah, I mean it's just going to be big to do that. To find a way to just sneak through wins. If you can get through these next 2 games, then you have a little bit of a longer mini bye, and that's just going to be huge to get into. Before you get the Cincinnati game and then get into the postseason. So, just finding a way. Yeah. I think, offensively, we got to pick it up a little bit. The slow starts are killing us. I think it kills us not having a number 2 receiver, and we've talked about it forever. I think we've got a few 3/4 receivers, but we don't have a true 2. And that's a killer, especially when you don't have George. I mean, you can't expect George to be out there every week and to make all the plays. I would have loved to see what he did against Philly. A really good defense.
Yeah.
I think you see Russ struggle a little bit too when you don't have that guy to, when things are breaking down, I got a chance to just throw it up to a guy. Our biggest play was the flea flicker to Calvin Austin, and he wasn't really even open. He made a good catch. Russ kind of threw a little back shoulder type throw or an underthrow for Calvin to make a play when the defender's back was turned. But, I think, Naj fumbling the toss sweep, that was a killer. Like, you could sit there and say, like, that killed the Steelers. Like, we were going to go in and do, but you're still down 7 points even if you go score. I think one of the killers was Coach T punting on like the 47-ish. But they never got the ball back.
Yeah.
Now, you'd never expect to not get the ball back, but that's a killer. Yeah. That's a killer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, man, and we talked about briefly after the game, we were texting, I think if we're not going to get a number two that defenses are worried about, like we got to start using our tight ends. I mean, you got to start using Pat because I don't think we have a receiver yet on the roster that's going to make a defense prepare the same way they would for George. George's not out there. Like, okay, we can cover this.
Well,
you gotta start using your tight ends.
Highlighted it. Brady was on the broadcast and highlighted that there were times that the safety, like they would just completely go to this side of the field, confuse Russ, and it's like one-on-one. Well, if that's George, it's one-on-one, you're taking it. But now it's like, if it's not my guy, I'm looking over here and I'm getting sacked. But the other thing Tom said that I really agreed with, because I think he knows what he's talking about, because he played.
Oh, you mean Tom Brady?
Yeah. Was crossing routes. Where's our crossing routes?
Dude, I almost texted you when he said that.
He mentioned it. Like, come on, man.
I'm like, dude.
How many ex-quarterbacks does it take for us to start running crossing routes?
Well, you guys got to get those gold jackets first, and they'll start listening.
Man. But, I thought Pat's touchdown catch was a great catch. I mean, strong catch. The DB's hands were on the ball.
Yeah.
And he snatches it away. It's a great play. So, you got to use Pat as your number two. I don't know.
Yeah. And then you got Darnell Washington blocking people into the Atlantic Ocean.
Love it.
I mean,
love it, Mount Washington.
I mean, dude, if the wall wasn't there, they would have been in the parking lot, bud.
And I get why the DB and why it caused a skirmish.
Yeah.
Because that's excessive blocking.
Yeah.
But that's not a penalty. There's no penalty for excessive blocking.
Dog, we caught two. Dude, he was blocking literally through hands, caught nothing. I will say this. Calvin Austin doesn't seem to be the biggest dude in the world, but he came in hot and he was ready to catch a fade. And I love that
as a teammate.
I was like, that is my guy.
Love that.
Yes. That was amazing. Well, so listen, man, it obviously sucks to lose, even worse to the Eagles, but we're moving on. Good to be in the playoffs. I'm excited to see what happens this week. I have questions about the Christmas game, but I'll save that for the Christmas episode, which I will let you guys know. Holiday episodes, Christmas, New Year's. Both of those eves fall on a Tuesday. We're not going to do it on Tuesday. Those episodes will drop that Monday night. The previous Monday night, you will get those episodes. So next week on a Monday, week after that on a Monday, make sure to set a reminder. We will let you know if you guys stay plugged into @FootballingWithBen on Instagram. That being said, jump into family dinner. The family thing.
What is this? You didn't talk about this.
Oh, no, dude, I'm so sorry. I
don't want to drink
poured
it
that an hour ago. Yeah. Okay, so this beer, the final beer.
It's a Cinderlands beer.
It's Cinderlands. Come on, man. Look at that. It's from our good friends over at Cinderlands.
Good friends.
It's called She's a Beaut.
She's a Beaut.
Holiday Hazy IPA. It is.
This is going to be good.
Brewed with spruce tips and sweet orange peel. Hopped with Chinook, Centennial, and Citra hops.
Yep.
Yeah, Cinderlands don't make bad beer, so. And 6.3.
Sprucey.
Is it?
But not over the top sprucey. It's like that's awesome. That's Christmas. That's not spiced Christmas. It's spruced Christmas.
Oh yeah, dude.
So good.
That's the Christmas beer. If you want a Christmas IPA,
yes,
that's the one you should get.
This is the one that it's like you're drinking the water from the pine, from the tree, Christmas tree. It's got a little pine to it. I like that a lot. Got a squirrel coming out of the tree.
Oh yeah. That's I like the Christmas beers without the spice, man.
Yep.
I think you can miss me with the spice.
That's a Christmas
and then
beer I like.
Here, I'll get this going.
Sorry, this quesadilla is good.
All right, so a family moment that stood out to me this week. Mm-hmm. Typically, like, these moments happen between Ben and I over text. Well, something will happen. We'll just have that conversation. But we thought we'd bring it to you guys as well because we mentioned this show. It happened in a show that I was watching. Maybe you are familiar with it. We talk about the show on this show a lot. It just ended. The series finale of the beloved Yellowstone came out this past week, the last episode ever. And I just want to preface, if you are not caught up with all the episodes, there's a little bit of spoiler that will be released here momentarily.
Turn it off.
Nothing crazy.
I actually just got a text from Taylor Sheridan asking us to be in next year's Yellowstone, but it's over.
Oh, man, we were so
missed.
close to season 6. I still subscribe to the notion you'd be a phenomenal Yellowstone character. The moment I have all kinds of thoughts about Yellowstone, but this is neither time nor the place. But the one thing I do want to talk about is the last episode of Yellowstone. They are having John Dutton's funeral. All right, there you go, Mr. Dutton. And there is a moment in which the coffin of John Dutton is in the stables, right? And then Beth walks out, has a moment with her father.
Yeah.
All right, it's a beautiful moment. And there was this weird, I did not expect to get emotional during this time, but I started to get emotional during this time, not necessarily for the characters, although I am attached to the characters, but because I was watching a daughter have a moment, probably one of the most profound moments in her life with her father. Now, I have 2 daughters. We know this. If you don't, now you do. And I'm thinking about that moment and realizing that my daughters will have that moment, but I won't be there for it. And so, in watching this moment in her life, it's crazy to think, because my daughters are little, it's crazy to think that there will be a moment of my kids' lives that I won't be there for, and a really significant one that probably would be great to have a dad for, in a moment like that. I'm laughing not because it's funny, because I don't want to start crying over a quesadilla, but it got me thinking. We did a thing in our small group about writing your eulogy and thinking about what it would say to really focus on the eternal perspective. Because I feel like we're fighting to do that all the time as Christians, as people. So that moment solidified that and fast forwarded me into that moment. Have you gotten to that part yet?
I have. Yeah, I have. I've seen that part.
Was there any level of significance for you as well?
Well, I've had those thoughts before. I guess it's kind of the same thing where I don't fear dying because I know when I die where I'm going and how. That's how great, right? How great it's going to be. I think my fear of death it's way less about me and more about who I'm leaving behind and what they're going to feel. Right? What are my kids going to feel? So it's kind of the same concept of that, right? My wife, my kids, and that's what makes me sad about someday dying. Yes, and you're right. Writing your own eulogy is incredibly hard to do. Yeah. Ashley and I, we go to that family camp in Colorado every year, and we've been blessed the last few years to have an amazing man, pastor, theologian, speaker, husband, call him everything you want, and David Platt, speak and basically teach us as couples out there. And he took it a step further last year, and we broke up with our spouse and kind of went to a separate part of the area we were in, and we had to speak out loud to our spouse their eulogy.
Sheesh.
So I had to look at Ashley. Well, sort of look. When you get out there that time of year, there's a lot of pollen from the pine.
Yeah, I get that.
So it really makes your eyes water. It's crazy. So it's hard to do it, but and really that's all it was the pollen. But yeah, you had to say her. I had to look at Ashley and be like, "This is her eulogy." So you have to, you
had to read the one she wrote for herself.
No. Or I had to make her. I had to speak her eulogy to her.
That's way worse.
I didn't write anything down first.
Dude.
Had to. He basically said, "Hey, take a minute and think about your spouses or your significant others. It'd be your spouse. We're all married. Your spouse's eulogy, and then tell it to them."
Wow. So. Yeah, I don't know that I could do that.
Mine went like this. Ashley.
How'd it go, guys? I cried for 45 minutes, David.
But it was very powerful to do.
Yeah. And so what was the teaching moment in that? It was I want you to do this.
I think it was a little bit of how does your spouse see you?
Sure.
What what could you how do they see you as a mother, as how does she see me as a husband, father, disciple of Christ, like this, that, and the other. So it was just it was very powerful. So it's another step of what you're saying, where writing your own eulogy is one thing. Yeah, it's not easy to do. It's hard, and you want to what do people think, but to do it for someone else that you care about was incredibly hard.
I do think it's important to have moments like that throughout the year to help us focus on that stuff, because I think there's a lot of times we can live our lives believing things just aren't true. You know what I mean? Like if I were to describe what I think about me to you, and you would have my wife describe what she thinks about me to you, you would think we're talking about two different people. Right? And that's kind of what, you know. And so even full circle back to the Yellowstone moment, like I think that was the thing, you articulated it. What you just said about it made me make sense of it in my own head, was that I wasn't afraid. I'm not necessarily. I used to be afraid of death. Like,
of course, I think
more
that's
dying with
normal.
More dying with potential. You know, I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I want to wring this thing out. Like when I get to the grave, I want it to be like dragged into
everything.
Like, hey, you got nothing left, man. Which so. But now having kids, I'm like, there's not. I never want to not be there. You know, and to think that like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a moment like one of the hardest moments in my kids' lives, I won't be able to be there, you know? And so that's a crazy thing. But like,
that's what definitely gets me when I think about dying.
Right. But
everybody else.
But full circle to what you're saying is like, it's because I feel like the way my daughters view me is I'm the superhero. Right. And so it's not that it's not that they're unaware of my faults or anything, but they're just always choosing to see the good in me, you know? And I think a lot of times we got to be reminded of that, because like, yeah, dude, we've all made mistakes. Yeah, dude, I don't know what time it is in the morning. It's in the middle of the day here. I'm already out of second chances, I'm sure, you know, by this time today. But that's not to say that there isn't any good in me. It's hard for me to go be like, no, dude, hey, Spence, you're doing it. Like, Ben, you're doing it. You're good. You're a good dad. You're a good father. You're good at what you do. You're not perfect. No one's expecting that, but you're good. That's a crazy thing from where I come from. Yeah. You know, my life experience, and especially with my not parents being divorced, the crazy life that I've, navigated through. It's to have somebody that every single being or ounce of their being is always willing to acknowledge what she sees, is like, it's a great reminder of that. It's like, yeah, man, maybe I should be a little bit, what's that line in the Office when it's like, hey, you need to be nicer to my friend Spence. Yeah. Like, hey, looking in the mirror, like, you need to be a little nicer to my friend Spence, man. But yeah, so that was a crazy moment. I didn't expect to have this existential crisis when I was watching Yellowstone, man.
Yeah, no. I think it's definitely something that, we would challenge you guys out there if you're still watching this. I know some of you guys might tune out this part, but if you're watching this, try it. Write a legacy letter. I want to talk about this, something different. Write your own obituary. And if you really feel brave and confident and want to grab your spouse and do something for them, do that together. It's definitely tough and tricky. But it did make me think, because you're talking about daughters, and I wanted to get legacy letter. A legacy letter is another awesome website and a group that basically is for, I think it's mostly for dads, about writing a letter to their kid, which is definitely something we can talk about another time. But it reminded me that, same sort of thing where, we should write a letter to your kid in case something happens. They understand, did I cover this? Did I cover that? Those kind of things. But just things that are things you don't always think about when it's time to go. Yeah. Sometimes I think it's easy to be selfish for a lot of us and be like, I'm just going. Who cares? I'm gone. What matters? Right. Well,
a lot. Yeah.
A whole lot. The next generation, man, is important. So anyway, I got deep.
Yeah. No,
that was good. That's what family dinner is supposed to be about.
That's what family. And I think people might not realize, because we film this, it seems like and we put effort into organizing this for a piece of entertainment. But that's how conversations between you and I typically go. And then we'll stop, and then I'll show you a meme, and then you know what I mean. That's typically how our conversations go. But yeah, man, if you guys are still here, like Ben said, this is for who it mattered to. Yeah. Right. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said earlier, next week's episode is going to drop Monday instead of Tuesday. So stay plugged in for that. If you are not already, go ahead, follow at Footballin with Ben on Instagram. Stay up to date. Catch social clips of the show. We appreciate you guys, man. We appreciate you guys buying in to the Footballin family. Yes.
Go Pitt volleyball.
Ooh, that's right.
Final Four Thursday. against Louisville for the third time this year. We got to go to Louisville because that's where it is. Let's go, ladies. Keep it up. We dominated last week. Who did we beat last week?
All of them. Oregon.
Oregon. Beat Oregon.
Easy money.
Pretty good. But yeah, let's go. Let's go, Coach Dan. Get them going. Let's fire this thing up. And we are super excited to watch. So if you don't know, now you know. Hey. Thursday, I think it's 6:30 they play. Okay. So check out the Lady Panther volleyball team. Spectacular, fun to watch. Go get it. Take care of Louisville in Louisville, and maybe we'll be down there for the national championship game.
Hey, easy money.
Let's go.
All right.
Thank you, Giant Eagle. Thank you all the people that sent beer, Cinderlands, Southern Tier, all the beers. Appreciate you.
And we'll see you next week. Peace.